I said it before and I'll say it again.
That scene, that last scene.
What does it mean?
I'm the dude, you know?
Get the fuck out of here. No, I cannot.
That final scene
Starts now.
Hi,
We're back. Yeah,
we're
God.
back.
After a very long hiatus, we have returned.
This is Sophie, your host. Hello. Simon.
Yo.
Hi.
Hello, yeah, good to be back.
I don't think we should look at the camera. I don't think it's a good idea.
Oh, let's not do that.
We're testing out filming for the first time, so
It was
You're
a-
only allowed to break the fourth wall once per episode.
I was gonna say it was one-time thing, just so people know that this isn't like a spy thing where someone has like
Oh, yeah. Couldn't
intuitive.
have that.
Yeah, exactly. Like we know that we're being filmed. We consent to this.
yeah.
But this is exciting. This is something that people have been asking for, so we're gonna give it a go.
I mean, you might not see it. If it turns
You
out shite, you
might
might not
not.
actually see it, so who knows? But hopefully it will be good.
What have we been up to? I feel like we have so much to catch up on.
I mean, the writer strike is over, so we're fine. We can all
Yes.
come back now. We can leave the picket lines. We
The
can
actors
podcast
are
again.
still out there.
Yeah,
doing their
but we ain't
thing.
got no chance with them. Come on.
Yes, that's true. I've been hearing about Deadpool 3 potentially being pushed
I saw
back
that
because
today,
of it.
yeah.
And Simon doesn't get it already.
We're-
Simon
we're-
has a little bit...
We have been back for a minute and 40 seconds and Simon's already sad about us talking about superhero movies. It's like we've never left.
That was going to be my one Marvel plug for the episode. So...
Oh, damn, I have a Marvel one as well.
What's
but,
yours?
well, just, what I've been watching.
Oh, shit. They have new stuff. Okay. Yeah,
no,
yeah.
not
let's-
new.
Is this a hate watch or a real watch?
No, a happy rewatch.
Okay.
should I say.
Iron Man.
No, not Iron Man, but a happy rewatch nonetheless.
All right.
But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I did see the Deadpool because it's May next year, which seems really close for a movie that's only half made.
It's not going to be
Not
out
gonna
by
happen.
then. Yeah. They have only shot half the film.
Does it need another one?
Yes.
It's going to be good. Like, Wolverine and Deadpool
They've got
are teaming up.
Hugh Jackman, yeah.
Wait, have you seen Deadpool, Simon? It's the one Marvel film you would enjoy. I
Yeah, I
think.
agree.
I've seen some of the first one, I think.
Yeah. It's the most...
It's got lots of like little punchline, sarcastic quips in it, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite gratuitous. No, is that the word? Gratuitous? I enjoyed Deadpool too. I thought it was good. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not. It was a bit samey. Like I don't know. It didn't do anything different, which is
No.
kind of what I'm hoping the next one will do because Josh Brolin was good. I thought Josh Brolin was cool, and they did some nice stuff with the kid from the Hunt for the Wilder People is in the second one
Oh, cool.
as like a kind of semi-evil, like angsty teen, and he's quite funny. I'm more hopeful for the third one. I'm just interested to see what it's like now that Disney have their hands all over it. Like, is that going to change it massively? But who knows?
I can only imagine it's going to go full OTT, but that's if Disney allows.
Do you know what? I think they kind of have to let them though, because there was so much talk, when Disney acquired Fox. Oh, like, are they going to let them do Deadpool? Like, what does Deadpool look like? And it has a very clear fan base. Like, it's not the traditional Marvel fan base. And I think they'll piss off a lot of people if they clearly have an influence on it. Like, the best thing they can do for it is just go, we'll just do one Deadpool movie and we'll let you make what you wanted to make. We'll give you, and fucking throw money at it. Obviously, they're throwing so much money at them. So I think it could be good as long as, I don't know, how do you round up, like, what does the end of that trilogy look like? It'd be interesting to see what they do with it.
If it's going to be the end of it,
Yeah, true. I mean, will Deadpool just become part of the whole
yeah.
Marvel franchise and it's all just a whole thing? Yeah, exactly.
Simon, let's bring you back to life. What have you been watching? How have you been? Give us the latest.
Yeah, not bad. Well, I've been watching some really random stuff, actually.
Okay.
I found a very old film from the late 70s with Helen Mirren in it called Hussy.
Hussy.
Oh, wait, I feel like I've seen that film.
It was set in the West End of London in the late... I think it's an 80s film, but it's set in the late 70s. And she's a prostitute in one of those Soho-type clubs, but a fairly posh one. She's got this abusive ex-husband that's still on the scene a little bit, but she ends up getting together with the sound and lighting tech from this cabaret
Classic.
bar. And it's all about the shenanigans they get up to. And it's like when you watch it, it's like the writer and the director every 2 minutes, like, oh, why don't we try this? Here's another idea. And it just goes on these crazy tangents and you literally can't predict where it's going to go. So it does hold your attention, but it's very, very weird.
How would you describe it? Like a thriller or
Kind
it's
of,
just
yeah.
avant-garde, full-on weird?
It's not.
From what you've
avant-garde.
described, it sounds like a romp.
It is quite rompy.
I love when movies are described as romps. That actually kind of makes me want to watch them.
Well, actually, I thought this might set the scene a little bit. This is the vibe. I think this is the opening song.
Classic. Tragic. A very different love story.
Oh, I'm transported. I'm transported.
I feel I'm sitting in a dusky nightclub smoking a cigarette in Soho in the 70s.
Yeah, so they're positioning it as a love story, and she's this prostitute in a cabaret place.
Who plays the ex-husband and who plays the light technician?
I don't.
Anyone have known?
No,
Is it like very early Helen Mirren, like
very
really early in her career?
I think it's before Prime Suspect.
Okay.
So if you're in America, Prime Suspect was a really big and well-respected, like one of the very first high-budget invested in TV dramas.
Quite like Cracker in a way, wasn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember Cracker
Prime
was
Suspect.
because Cracker had Robbie Coltrane
Yeah.
and Prime Suspect had Helen Mirren.
I think Prime Suspect was before Cracker, maybe.
Yeah. And it was really cool because Helen Mirren was this senior female police officer who was like taken seriously and was a beast, and she would solve these incredibly complex crimes. And they did show politics at work and how she was treated by her colleagues and all the stuff that she had to kind of circumnavigate to succeed. It's really good. It's one of the first things that I remember my mum letting me watch as like a young kid and feeling like really grown up watching it because it was like covered really dark themes.
I remember for me it was Family Guy. Family Guy was like being like 12 or 13 and Family Guy being this thing that like the grown-ups were allowed to watch.
Yeah.
And then finally being allowed to watch it and being like, this is hilarious. And I get to hear all the rude jokes.
That leads, because we're doing Rocky Horror Show next, aren't we? Or sometime?
We're gonna do it
We're
very
going to do
soon.
it soon, yeah.
Well,
Because I mean, it's Halloween.
Because that's
soon,
my
so-
other one. Because one night I remember I must have been like 10, 11, I was quite young, and I was ill. And you know when you're ill, you're allowed to like come downstairs and
Yeah.
sit in the TV room or whatever later at night. And Mum and Dad were watching Rocky Horror Show. And I was like, holy shit, is this what you guys watch every night? I can't
Nice.
believe it. And that was the first time, I think it's probably the first time I'd seen like cross-dressing on TV.
Yeah.
And and I felt really like mature that I was allowed to watch it.
My prime memory of like the first time being, you know, when you're, as you say, like you're allowed to stay up to watch a film.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, to be like, you'd be watching a movie and it would get to bedtime. It's like, oh, well, sorry, like you got to go to bed. You know, I know it doesn't matter if the movie's over. You got to go to bed to go to school tomorrow. The first time I remember being allowed to stay up, and I think it was because I just kicked up such a fuss to want to watch the end of the movie, was the Spice Girls movie.
Oh man.
I have such a
iconic.
clear recollection of being told by my parents, okay, fine. If you're going to kick up such a fuss, we will let you watch the end of Spice World.
So is that one of those ones where the news was halfway through and you were like, oh no.
yeah,
Cause
exactly.
my mum and dad always used because in the UK, I don't know if it's like this in Greece, but they do this news bulletin sometimes at like 10,
like a 5-minute news
or
bulletin.
even longer, like sometimes it's like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you knew that mum and dad would be like, this is the perfect time to like boot us out the lounge and
Yeah,
get
go
rid
to
of us.
bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, not for me.
That's so funny.
I've never seen Spice Girls film.
I don't think I've seen it since then, and I was probably 7 or 8 years old, so I don't really remember that much. I just remember they travel around the country in a bus, and the one fact I know is that bus is now stationary in the Isle of Wight, and it is there as a tourist attraction because you need a reason to go to the Isle of Wight because there's nothing else there other than the Spice Girls bus and an alpaca farm.
It
which
has
I've been on.
cult film status now. I feel like it's very watchable.
Yeah, especially now with, you know, Posh is back in the
Yes.
news with this David Beckham series. So
yeah.
the Spice Girls are back in the zeitgeist.
When I was first looking for jobs when I moved to London, I wrote to their manager, Nikki Chapman,
Nice.
and I got a letter back. And I was like, I was trying
Really?
to work
What?
at 19 Entertainment or whatever. And I wrote to her saying, I want to be a runner or I'll do anything to get
Yeah.
going.
I'll do anything to
Yeah.
get near Jerry Halliwell.
I think actually it might have been like like composing music or something. Anyway, Nikki wrote me a letter back and signed it.
my
and everything.
God, that's so
I've got it
nice.
somewhere.
That's so lovely.
And she was very, very nice. So
That's
thanks,
very
Nikki.
What?
sweet.
So it wasn't not a chance in hell. Fuck off.
Well, it was
dear.
kind of like, yeah,
Sincerely, Nikki.
a very polite rebuffal, whatever the word is.
A polite no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what I just remembered? Isn't Richard E. Grant in the Spice Girls film?
Loads of people are in the Spice Girl
Oh,
film. Like
right.
Stephen Fry's in the Spice Girl
Whoa.
films. Loads
Is
of
it
random
kind of
people
like
in it.
a Richard Curtis type?
Yeah, I
vibe?
think so. If I remember correctly, I think so. It's like it's almost like a celebration of like the Spice Girls and like, you know, all these, like I think it's a London bus they travel around in, so it's very much like you know, yeah, Richard Curtis is the right way to put it. I mean, he probably has his hands on it in some way.
Going back to your question, because it just came to me, the film that I first saw that made me feel like an adult was probably like Harry Potter. Now, I don't remember. I probably could be the first one or something, but I don't know if that was the case here. But I mean, Greece is a bit backwards generally. And at the time when we were at school, there was this weird rumor among teachers, especially, that this is like Satan's film.
What?
Yes, wizardry. Oh my god! Like, why are we teaching people?
Did they make you play it backwards and you can hear satanic messaging in Harry Potter? Is that what it is?
That was
If you play it backwards, you hear Vangelis.
That was part of the narrative, and there were schools that wouldn't like show Harry Potter because it had like satanic messages and stuff like that. So
Crazy.
my mom was so anti all of that, where she was like, "Can you just sit down and watch a fucking film?"
Oh, good.
Nice.
She cut through the fake news.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was interesting. So
Thank God for Sophie's mum.
And then
Yeah,
were you
exactly.
addicted to Harry Potter after that?
I wouldn't say addicted. I always enjoy the Harry Potter films, but I wouldn't consider myself like a Potterhead.
I did a rewatch of them quite recently, and you know, they're not bad. I wouldn't say
They're
they're bad
good.
films. They're like solid 6 and 7 out of 10s.
They're good. I just, because I've read the books and I've watched the films, but then you see what the fandom actually looks like, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm not part of that.
See, I've not read that. See, do you know what? And I don't know if it's like,
Dude, sometimes I'm in King's Cross Station and it's that event where they do the
Yeah.
special platform.
Well, did you see a couple of weeks ago when they had the thing where it was like, oh, this is the day that students will be going to Hogwarts, and all these people descend on St. Pancras,
Oh, God.
and they like hold up wands,
And they
stuff.
knew there was going to be a certain announcement at a certain time.
Yeah, at like 9 a.m. or
Yeah.
something like that. There's an announcement to go to platform 9 3/4 every year at this same time, and all these people descend. And listen, all power to you. If that's what you want to do.
I get it. I think we've all
Yeah.
been part of a fandom once in our lifetime.
Dude, I've gone round New York looking for the Home Alone locations, and
There
I've
you
gone round
go.
San Francisco looking for Mrs. Doubtfire. So
I mean,
You
why not?
have-
Yeah.
complain.
You have?
Yeah.
Do you find them?
Which ones? Home Alone.
Both.
The Lost in New York Home Alone house doesn't exist. I walked
Shame.
around all the streets. I'd figured it out, and it doesn't exist. And then I read that it was done on a soundstage. But there's obviously there's lots of
Devastating.
shots of New York that are real.
But I remember when I went to New York, you told me to go to the hotel. I think you told me
Oh,
go to the
yeah,
hotel
Plaza
where
Hotel,
he
yeah.
meets Trump, and then you
Yeah.
also said don't try and find the house; it's
Yeah,
not there.
That's right. Yeah, because I walked around this block like 5 times.
That
And I
was
had
your
the
advice.
address, and I was like, the number doesn't exist. And then I
Yeah.
realized what they'd done.
Oh, no.
But yeah, the hotel.
But surely there's an external there somewhere, no? Like, is there not an exterior
No, they
shot?
made a whole street. They made a whole street in
Jesus.
the soundstage. Yeah,
That's insane.
Yeah, that's huge.
That must have been so expensive.
yeah. But then obviously it was getting trashed. So
Yeah, true. By all those mad contraptions that he built.
yeah. And then my sister recently went to San Francisco, and she found. Do you remember they go to Bridges Restaurant in Mrs. Doubtfire at the end? Mm-hmm.
That's not where Pierce Brosnan chokes on something,
that's
is it?
the hot jambalaya scene. And she said it's like a really because in the film it's really posh, isn't it? It's a special restaurant. And she said it's
Yeah,
like
he
a
said they're all
really-
getting like lobster and like fancy
it's not like
fish.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Except she sent me a picture of the disabled toilet where he does the outfit changes. You know, it's got a metal toilet in it.
Yeah.
And Robin Williams puts his bag down and then does the change and there's the perfume and everything. That's exactly the same.
Oh, wow.
And I think it's got a photograph of the film poster.
I was going to say, is it like
a little bit.
Is it's like in Cat's Deli where they have the sign that says where Harry Met Sally,
Yeah.
when Harry Met Sally sign? Do they have a sign on the door?
Any other films that you want to highlight, call
Well-
out, give a shout out?
Well, I watched all of Wayne's World 1 and then I couldn't get through Wayne's World 2. I just found it so PG and safe and dated. I couldn't
How far into 2 did you get?
like 15
you-
minutes.
15 minutes. Oh God.
Just wasn't feeling it, yeah. But I did take one line from the first one that I like.
What if he honks in the car?
I'm giving you a no honk guarantee.
Phil, if you're gonna spew into this.
It's like a tiny cup.
Yeah, he hands him like the tiniest little paper
Because I
clip.
once had a friend, when we started going out in Brighton, when we had our fake IDs or whatever, one of my friends did a shot in Bar Latino and he was immediately sick. And he chundered through his fist into an ashtray. It was amazing.
That happened
and he
to me-
funneled it perfectly.
That
into
happened to me
ashtray.
at my like they call it like it's called like the Debs in Ireland, but it's like, you know, end of school like ball type thing where everybody gets in suits and like, you know, you go and you have a nice dinner and drink. There was a guy that did that at my Debs. We both took a shot and I turned around and I was like, whew. whatever it was. I think it was whiskey or something like that. And then I turned back and he had puked straight away into a pint glass. This pint glass that had previously been empty on the bar was now full of this like strange yellow liquid.
He was just completely composed, like no sign. He just got away with it.
Yeah, just in the pint glass, and then he walked away. And then I walked away because I thought, someone's going to think I puked in that pint glass. I need to get away from it. Yeah. This is what's happened. See, we've been away.
That's an excellent chunder execution, if you ask me.
I know, yeah. The aim is tremendous.
And it doesn't have a segue.
No, it doesn't.
Can you not lead out?
There is there? I don't think there's any way you can segue that into
Well, I
movies.
can. I've got one more thing, because the weekend I watched The Witches of Eastwick.
Ooh.
Okay.
With the in-laws. Quite sexual, that I just completely forgot about. And it kept upping the ante every time. So this is one of the first scenes that like I was like, oh, I've forgotten about this. To set the scene as well. So this is Jack Nicholson, Cher, Susan Sarandon, and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
And Jack Nicholson's basically the devil, and he's seduced these women, or maybe they've seduced him, who knows. But in this scene, they're talking about the perfect man.
Handsome. He should be really handsome.
Not too handsome. Nice eyes.
Nice ass.
Quite PG so far.
Huge. I prefer small.
All I do is that
I glance over to an in-law, back at my laptop.
I just could not face it. Well, I'm sort of in the middle myself.
Anyway, that's just the entree to how rude it gets.
Wow.
And then there's this section from Jack Nicholson.
What is it that you think you're doing?
Being as direct with you as I know how.
He's on her bed right now.
I appreciate it. And, anyway, I always like a little pussy after lunch, what they say.
Are you trying to...
I think at this point is when I ordered a very expensive vintage sampler off the internet because I needed to bury my face in my laptop. Yeah. Anyway, it's good, but just don't watch it with
I didn't remember
extended
that it was.
family.
Yeah,
No.
I didn't remember that it was so unsafe
It's not unsafe. It's
for
just,
work.
Yeah, they just...
NSFW, yeah.
There's a lot of really funny chunder. This is the chunder link. So there's some really good puking scenes in it where obviously either Jack or the witches are controlling other people and they make them sick. And it's really like, it's like, did you ever watch Bottom? With Rick Mail? They did, or the young ones. I can't remember. I think Bottom did like lots of puking scenes. Like it was like pumping out of their mouths. It's like sort of farce. It's like that. So yeah.
Nice.
It's good.
Cool. Ben?
What have I been watching? I mean, it's been like 2 months since we last
It's
recorded.
hard to, yeah.
I mean, other than trashy reality television, because in the UK, Big Brother is back and Married at First Sight is back.
Bake Off is back.
Bake Off is also back.
Do you actually watch them?
I watch Bake Off.
Yes, I'm well into Married at First Sight and getting into Big Brother. I mean, TV-wise, there's lots out. So obviously the Loki TV show's out, but I'm not going to bother because I just can't be arsed with another Marvel TV show. I'm watching Gen V.
Oh, yeah. Thoughts?
I'm enjoying it. It's good. I mean, have you watched The Boys, Simon? Or do you know The Boys? It's like that kind of anti-hero Amazon TV show. It's like Carl Urban and Jack Quaid, and it's really good. But it consistently is like the weirdest fucking thing on television. Like there is always something that's incredibly weird. And I think within 2 episodes on Gen V, it's like, yeah, we're doing weird. Like it does like Hero-gasm. It does that kind of type thing immediately.
Weird on steroids.
Yeah, it's really like Sky High in a way. I don't know if you remember the movie Sky High, which is about a superhero school, and Kurt Russell's in it, and he has this son who has been sent to this I think it's called Sky High, the school, and he doesn't have his powers yet. And the whole movie is like all these people are superheroes, and he doesn't have his powers yet. And you get broken into heroes or sidekicks. And they do a kind of a similar thing in Gen V, but it takes also the weirdness and kind of violence of The Boys, like. Within 2 or 3 episodes, this isn't a spoiler. 2 or 3 episodes, there's a girl who's called her like superhero name or hero name is like Cricket, and she can make herself really small, and she basically has sex with a guy, and she shrinks he's like, do you know, it'd be really cool if you just like shrunk yourself down really small and just basically like hugged my penis. And then, and in classic The Boys style, that's not just a euphemism that happens off camera. You see that happen.
Right.
She gets tiny. There's a giant cock. It's fucking weird. So yeah, it's as weird as The Boys is.
Is there a plot though that's worth following?
Yeah. Yeah, I won't talk about it too much, but like, there definitely is. And I haven't watched the latest episode though. So another episode came out last Friday and I haven't watched it just yet. I think I'm going to wait maybe until a few more are out and then try and watch them in a row. But it's good. I am enjoying it. I finished Ahsoka, which was good. As a Star Wars TV show.
You must have thoughts.
Yeah, because I think we talked about this the other week. I did like it. I thought it was good. I thought, dragged on a bit like all those fucking TV shows do. Like, I feel like most TV shows that Disney Plus put out at the minute is, apart from stuff maybe like The Bear, it's 10 episodes. It could be 5. Like, it could be really short. Like, they really drag these things out and make it really long. But Ahsoka was good, and it's a shame because the best performance in it is, I think, is Ray Stevenson is his name, and he passed away just before the show came out. And he's incredible in it, and like his character gets this kind of like cliffhangery ending where they could do something really interesting with him, but he's passed away, and it's such a shame because he's absolutely fantastic in it, and I think it's his last performance before he died. And he's amazing in it. So it's such a shame that they won't get to do more. But they haven't committed to doing anything else. They were like, oh, it's going to be a once-off. But the series kind of leaves it open-ended that they could do more. And then other than that, I haven't been to the cinema, I don't think, since Barbie, basically, since we last recorded. So I've just been like rewatching old movies. So like, as I said, I watched some Marvel. So I rewatched Infinity War and Endgame because when I want to feel good about Avengers movies or superhero movies. Yeah. Yeah. And then I watched, which I brought a clip of because obviously Tom Cruise released Mission Impossible during the summer, which was amazing. But actually, one of my favorite films of his is Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh, so good.
And it's funny because I always remember the thing that always sticks out for me with this film, and we've got a clip of it which we can play, is that when I watched it, when I went to see it the first time, I had that movie Source Code came out beforehand.
Quite like Source Code.
So see, I didn't like Source Code, the whole him having to repeat the day and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't really like it. I thought it was really boring. And I went into Edge of Tomorrow being like, oh, fuck, it's going to be the exact same. And actually, it's this brilliant like sci-fi action movie that has amazing set pieces in it that does the whole resetting the day thing really well. It's Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt, Brendan Gleeson's in there as like an asshole general for a little bit. Like, it's really, really fun. And I mean, yeah, I think if you haven't seen it, Simon, basically the clip tells you everything you need to know.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to save you. We're getting slaughtered. You need to get us off this beach. We have to go. This dropship is about to explode. We have to go now. Wait. Come on! Come on! Come on! The ship is going to explode! What are you doing?
Find me when you wake up.
What?
Come find me when you wake up.
It's so good. It's so well done. And
it's incredible.
The rewatch, I was like, fucking hell, I just forgot how good this movie is. Like, it's so fun. It's because I didn't enjoy Source Code, I was like, oh fuck, I guess I just don't really, that whole start the day over, the posters for Edge of Tomorrow is Live, Die, Repeat. And I feel like it was called Live, Die, Repeat in certain territories, the way movies are called different things in different places. And it's just so fucking good. And then the other thing that I watched really recently, which will tie into something we're going to be doing in the next episode, a new feature we're going to be doing, is I think possibly the best comedy film ever made. So I'll let you play the clip and then I think you'll know it straight away.
So it's 6 p.m. in the nighttime. This is when I wake up. This is always a really scary part for me. Yes! Nighttime. So now I'm going to wake up my flatmates. I really love living in a flatting situation. Wake up!
Flatting.
Wake up, everyone!
So
I like to hang out with other vampires. I like the company. Awaken! Wakey! I just really like having a good time with my friends. Awaken! Hi.
Is Peter coming?
Should we wait?
Peter's 8,000 years old. We're not going to have Peter at the meeting. Okay, so I wanted to have a quick chat about flat responsibilities because, guys, I think that we're not all pulling our weight here. We're not just pointing the finger at you, Deacon. You're a cool guy, but you're not pulling your weight in the flat.
Is that when the kitchen sink's like overflowing in the background?
It's completely overflowing. So if you haven't seen that film, that is What We Do in the Shadows. Has become a TV show. So FX turned into a TV show with Matt Berry and Kevin Noah. The movie or the TV show?
The show.
I watched the first season of the show and I thought it was really good.
Nice.
I enjoyed it. It's kind of different. Like the vampires are a little bit different and it's set in New York. Rather, obviously this one's set in, I think it's in Auckland is What We Do in the Shadows is set in. But I genuinely think that's one of the top 10 comedy films ever made. It is so funny. It gets that whole, like the whole mockumentary style, you know.
Subversive. Yeah.
Yeah, and like Taika Waititi has made some amazing films, but that is like easily my favorite. And that the character that he played, like the scene where he is like, what is it? He's going to kill someone and eat them, but he punctures an artery and and all he cares about is destroying the furniture because he's getting blood everywhere. And then the next shot is him like talking head to the camera and he's just covered in blood head to toe and he's so upset about it. And like Jermaine Clements is in it from Flight of the Conchords. He's awesome. Rhys Darby from Flight of the Conchords is in it as well. Like the whole cast is incredible and the premise is just so stupid and so funny. I rewatched it recently and I was like, I feel like this needs to be like my Halloween watch movie. Like this is my Halloween movie. I need to watch it at least once a year because it's just too funny. What about you, Sophie? I mean, it's been 2 months.
Well, I've been back to the cinema for
Yeah, you've just done LFF.
So I just did London Film Festival. I saw 17 films in 2 weeks.
What? That's more films than days.
It was worth it though.
Commitment.
It was worth it. So first one, Pullman by Chris Pine.
Yes.
Stars, directs, produces Humiliation. Like has like 5% on like Rotten Tomatoes.
It's getting absolutely destroyed
Hammered.
by everyone.
The thing is, like, I had so many friends who attending the screening say it is so bad, it's not even funny bad. You know what I mean? As in,
well,
like,
it's supposed to be like kind of a Big Lebowski kind of his attempt at like a stonery movie with a bit more meaning to it.
The cast is great. So and I mean, he's great. So I will not let this make me not a fan of his because my undying love for Chris Pine is still very much there, but maybe he should go back to just acting.
I mean, he is still the best thing about Don't Worry Darling. Him and Florence Pugh, but him and
great.
Don't Worry Darling is amazing.
Hell or High Water, he's great. He's a great actor, but maybe directing, not his thing. So that's the one that I chose to skip, and the other one is called Foe. Saoirse Ronan and Paul Mescal. Yeah. So sci-fi, romance. Think of like Passengers, like Jennifer Lawrence, Chris
Pratt.
Yeah, kind of vibe. Terrible. I heard
really?
I heard horrible film. You know, when sometimes like, I mean, it's one thing to get like a couple of bad reviews, but when we're talking like every single person said the same thing, that I'm not gonna share anything spoiler because I haven't seen the film, but basically there is a plot twist in the end. That is the only reason that you would watch the film in the first place. Like the entire film is constructed around the plot twist, and you're like, "What for fuck's sake? I spent 2 hours for this." It's that kind of
that and Paul Mescal's charisma. Come on,
I do like him.
Are you being sarcastic?
No, I love Paul Mescal.
I do love him. Yeah, because
he has the film with Andrew Scott that's supposed to be amazing.
All of Us Strangers. It was the saddest film I've seen all year.
Yeah.
It was heartbreaking.
It's like one of those movies that it's not going for like Best Picture, but it's going for like acting awards.
It should. It's just heartbreaking. And Claire Foy, Jamie Bell is in it. Like, it's just an incredible film. Yeah. But to go back to the headliners very quickly, Killers of the Flower Moon. I absolutely love that film. It is my favorite Scorsese film. I'm gonna go on record saying it. I'm going to insult a lot of people. I love Goodfellas, you know, but it just did so, like, it just touched me so much. And with Scorsese, like, we've talked about him before. I love him as a filmmaker. his cinema doesn't touch me emotionally, if that makes sense. Like, I mean, I love his films, but because he hasn't spoken to me in a way that other filmmakers have, I haven't had that sort of emotional connection to a film. And what Lily Gladstone does in this film, who's the main actress, the lead character in that film, is just astonishing. Like, you haven't seen a performance like that, and I'm hoping that she wins the Oscar. But yeah, I didn't feel the runtime. I know some people are gonna say, yeah, it's very long because it's 3.5 hours, but it also has the feel of Departed, where like the camera doesn't stay on a single frame for more than 2 seconds, right? So like you're not gonna have like 5-minute dialogues. Like that's not the kind of vibe that you're getting, which is why the pacing works so well. And a funny thing I read about, like I read in one of his interviews, Scorsese, that he was inspired by Ari Aster's film for the pacing, which I found very odd, like Midsommar.
Okay,
like,
interesting.
It's very odd, but it worked. And DiCaprio's favorite performance so far in his career, in my opinion. De Niro is amazing and actually does something interesting because he hasn't done something interesting, like performance-wise, since The Irishman. So yeah, a lot to take in, but very much guarantee for you to watch. If you don't, and I was telling this to Ben earlier, if you don't want to watch this film, in the big screen because you can't handle the 3.5 hour film, totally get that. Watch it on Apple TV Plus and maybe just, have a toilet nearby.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure someone will eventually, like they did with The Irishman, someone will come out with like a blog where they tell you can watch it in 3 parts. Just stop it here, here, and here.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to your review once you watch it. Yeah, and I think it goes back to our conversation about the criticism that we've had of the filmmaker in the past in terms of how he's approached certain subjects and stories and idiosyncrasies. So I found that very interesting. So that's number 1. And number 2, my top favorite film from the festival, Poor Things, Yorgos Lanthimos' new film. I went in there without, I don't like watching trailers. I don't like knowing about the film. I just knew that Emma Stone and Mark Ruffalo are in the film, and I was like, I might as well give it a go. It's his best film by far. Okay. It's like a feminist manifesto coming out of nowhere. And I think it goes back to, also what we're talking about earlier, Ben, is it a man's story to tell like a feminist story? And I actually think it's a brilliantly told story. It's a Frankenstein tale. So Willem Dafoe plays a Frankenstein character in the movie. And he creates Emma Stone, who's basically like her brain, and I don't want to say why because it's a bit spoilery, doesn't align and match her body. Like she has like a body of an adult, but she has a brain of like a baby. So she's trying to find her place in the world as an embryo, pretty much, as a baby, in a body of like someone who has periods and wants to have sex. And like it's just very weird, very not safe for work. It's super explicit, a lot of sex, a lot of stuff involved that are very sexual. And I don't want to say gory, but it has a bit of like blood, medical stuff mostly because it's a Frankenstein movie, but nothing too crazy.
Surgical horror type stuff.
Yeah, but nothing too crazy because I wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
So definitely recommend. I think you would like it. I think you will have thoughts. So definitely recommend. And another film that I did like, and I don't know if that's your type of film, but I did enjoy it, The Bike Riders. So that's
the Austin Butler, Tom Hardy movie, isn't it?
Yeah. So I don't think you watched Sons of Anarchy, did you? The TV show? Yeah. I mean, it will scratch that kind of itch for people who have want a motorcycle club story. And it's actually inspired by a true story. And it's just very well told. And Jodie Comer is the highlight of the film. So it's worth watching.
Tom Hardy apparently has some massively indecipherable, nonsensical accent that's not from anywhere.
It is ridiculous, but I also don't care because he was great. It's that kind of thing. It's like you're so good, but also you don't make any sense.
And Austin Butler's accent is just Elvis because he sounds like Elvis now. So
yeah,
and will forever sound like Elvis. It did work
though because I think his character was from the South or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine a lot of things he's going to be cast in now is because of that voice.
Yeah, these are my highlights. I mean, I've done like a proper reviews on my page, but overall, it was the best LFF I've done so far.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So before we move into our like very mini community segment, and however we want to call it, do we want to talk about how we're going to be, doing our episodes moving forward? Because we got together over a beer or two and we figured out a new format.
I guess the main thing is that we won't be doing final scenes every episode. So we're going to try and cut back on that so we can actually focus a little bit more on them. So pretty much every second episode will be a final scene episode. So it gives us a bit more time to research the episode or research the movies. It gives us more time to work on a bit of the production side of things and actually do those movies justice a bit more and be a little bit more selective about the ones that we want to do. And then every other episode will be like this, where it's just kind of us getting together and chatting and introducing a new segment, which we are going to start doing, I think, from the next episode, maybe, or maybe the one after that.
And that's your baby.
This is, well, it's not my baby, but it's slightly my idea.
Kind of.
But so, and we need your help with this as well. If you're listening, if you have name suggestions, please let us know. Because Desert Island Films doesn't really, it kind of does it justice, but that's not necessarily what it is. But the basic premise is that in the next episode, Sophie, Simon, and I will bring 3 movies each that we want to bring to the desert island. And that will be a list that we will have, I think, where's the list going to live?
Probably on our Instagram somewhere. Okay. Yeah.
It'll sit somewhere as our list, but it'll be an ever-evolving list. Because,
it can also be on Letterboxd, by the way.
Yeah, Letterboxd as well. But it'll be an ever-evolving list. So every other episode, then one of us will bring another film to kick one of the others out.
Oh my God.
And we'll have to stake our case that you can then vote on. So I might come in and say, I want to get rid of one of Sophie's movies, and I want to replace it with this. Or Simon might say he wants to replace one of mine with one of his. And it'll be an ever-evolving list of movies that you can judge us on and that you can vote on, and just have your input, talk to us a little bit more, and who knows, maybe you can suggest movies that we want put in, and it can be our movies and some of the listeners' movies as well.
Yeah.
So it's going to be slightly different format going forward, but we think it's going to be good.
Really excited. And I think this is all part of, on the back of what people have, told us in terms of feedback. So we're just trying to also improve and make the experience better for you.
Yeah. And videos. That's the thing. We are filming ourselves today as a test to see how that goes. And because that was, I know, Sophie, before we had our production meeting, you put out a question of what would people like to see more. And a lot of that was videos to kind of see us and get to know our faces a bit more, outside of those amazing headshots that we have on the website. And so, we're gonna experiment with that a little bit. We won't put it out until we think it's right. But once we've got it nailed down, hopefully you'll start getting to see a little bit more of us.
Very exciting. I need to think of my Desert Island films because I don't have a list yet. I don't have the 3.
I've got my 3.
Oof.
Already locked in and ready to go.
I think I have as well.
You may have heard one of them already today. But that could change by the next time we come in.
Awesome. Okay, cool.
What's this?
It's a movie.
No!
Oh, I liked it.
No!
Can I say something?
No!
I don't get it.
What don't you get about it?
And we're back with a very short audience segment on Scorsese again, because Killers of the Flower Moon is coming out this Friday, and we thought it would be interesting to revisit the favorite or the best De Niro and DiCaprio performance in a Martin Scorsese film. And people have thoughts, and I have thoughts as well, so we can go through them. I'm gonna start. I want you to play a clip, Simon, that I share with you, which shows exactly why this award for De Niro should go to King of Comedy.
How can I not think about it? I mean, I've been sitting here at lunch with you, which I knew is the reason you invited me in the first place, and all I'm sitting here and eating for is to get guilty with you, right?
I'm asking you to take over the show for 6 weeks. I mean, what's 6 weeks?
I'll give you anything, but don't ask me to do 6 weeks. I can't take over the show for 6 weeks. I can't even take over my own life for 6 weeks. And you're asking me to do something that's impossible. It's impossible. Don't you understand? What?
What are you doing down there so late?
It's impossible. I'm trying to tell you that. What do you want? You want the tears to come out of my eyes?
There's got to be a way you can work it out. It's just 6 weeks.
Excuse me, Mr. Pumpkin, do you think you could?
Yeah. Sure. What's your name, dear?
Dolores.
Dolores?
Yeah.
That was my father's name. To Dolores, who sensed greatness.
Okay, so in this minute, you saw 3 different performances from De Niro. Like you hear the like, I'm semi-confident, but also pseudo-artistic. Then you move into like full desperation, and then you move into like full pickup mode, like to a waitress. So I have so many thoughts about this film, and I'm not gonna go into them. But I think it's a perfect example of De Niro's range because it shows tragedy and comedy in a like incredible way.
It's a big influence on Joker, that film, wasn't it?
For
King of
sure.
Comedy?
Yeah. Joker done well.
Yeah.
That's my hot take.
Wow. I disagree because I think Joker's done very well, and it's another De Niro film, but that's for another day.
Yeah.
I mean,
sure.
I think King of Comedy is a great shit. I mean, they what's the count now? I don't even know for De Niro and Scorsese together. I mean,
oh, plenty.
So many. I mean,
Yeah.
I tend to go back to, and I just because I think the film I think is incredible, and also it's like pop culturally, it's like parodied so much as Cape Fear. I mean, you know, and it's an incredible like De Niro as well from like a physical transformation side of things as well. Like he looks insane in that film.
Yeah.
He's so terrifying as well. It's just such a great performance. On the Leonardo DiCaprio side, I mean, Departed I'd probably go back to. I know Wolf of Wall Street's probably the default answer because he's it's the lead. There was a lot of Oscar buzz around it. It's a fairly controversial film. But I don't know. I don't know if it's my favorite one. I think maybe I really like Shutter Island as well. And a couple of comments did mention Shutter Island, which I was glad about. I know it's a film that kind of has its own controversy around it in its kind of the way it deals with mental health and stuff like that. But Leo's performance in it is fantastic. And I think it's one of those ones that maybe flies under the radar a little bit as them two together, you know? And as we were saying about The Aviator, it's one of those films that I don't really just automatically associate with Scorsese. And when I was looking back on the list of these movies that these, DiCaprio and Scorsese have done together, Shutter Island was the one that jumped out at me. I was like, oh, I fucking constantly forget that was the two of them doing that together.
Yeah. I mean, someone says Isidoros, for DiCaprio, it's The Aviator, hands down, possibly his best performance in overall. It doesn't get enough praise. And for De Niro, maybe Cape Fear. So, and I think we saw a lot of people say Aviator, which is interesting, and probably he does something that I don't remember that's quite remarkable because maybe there is something there. I found that with Killers of the Flower Moon with his performance because I've seen quite a few DiCaprio performances where I know that, it's the DiCaprio thing. And the first hour I was like, maybe that's a bit of a Django Unchained performance. But then he does like a full-on twist where he comes across as very pitiful. And I thought that requires a lot of humility in a way to be able to come across like that because that's not what DiCaprio tends to do. Also want to get your take once you see it in terms of like his performance, but I thought he was one of the highlights.
Interesting. No one on the Instagram said Gangs of New York, incredibly. Surprisingly.
Oh God, I forgot he was,
Yeah. That again, another one that like kind of, I feel like slips through the net on me is like a DiCaprio and Scorsese film.
Yeah. For De Niro, they do say another one said Cape Fear. Like hot take, gotta say De Niro for in Cape Fear. Yeah, so there is something there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's such a like it's such an unsettling performance. Kind of like in that it is like a thrillery kind of horror film in the same way. I put it on level of like Nicholson in The Shining, in that like he's like the kind of movie that like I don't really
unpredictable.
Yeah, that's it. Like you don't know what he's going to do next, and there's something in his eyes that are just absolute. Like there's an, unhinged is probably the word, and it's really hard to play that in a non kind of cheesy way because if you're not careful, it comes across as the Simpsons parody of like The Shining, where it's Homer just pretending to be crazy and all that kind of stuff. But De Niro does it so well in Cape Fear that you are just kind of petrified. Like properly gives you nightmares, that movie, because he's like the Terminator. You're just like, he just keeps like, is all like, he's almost like unstoppable.
Yes.
And there's something terrifying about that. Like a man who's just so determined to fucking get you.
Yes.
It's so scary.
Simon, I think you'll appreciate this one. Glover Pick said, Goodfellas for De Niro, for him to convincingly play Jimmy Conway at 21 while being 47.
Yeah, that's mad.
It's quite mad.
De Niro's 21 when they made that, was he?
That is wild. I
Jesus.
didn't know that, but he pulls it off.
He's got like deep lines in his face that could be like...
Yeah.
It's a great performance.
And I think that's probably something that you could say for both DiCaprio and De Niro, in that, like, for a lot of their careers, especially the movies with Scorsese. And I think that's something that maybe he brings out of these, is that, like, even at a young age, there's a maturity in, like, a lot of their... That's probably why people are saying The Aviator as well, because, I mean, that's what, 2005, you know, like, still fairly early in, before DiCaprio had much Oscar buzz and all that kind of stuff, getting very mature performances out of these. And you can see why these actors and this director kind of have gravitated towards one another. And then again, with, like, The Departed as well, it's a very mature and intense performance from someone who's still relatively young.
And I think it was because I was at the Scorsese talk the other day. He did mention that DiCaprio went after him for the Aviator role because he really loved, I'm trying to remember he loved like an odd film, maybe like Cape Fear or something like that no one saw or something. It wasn't Cape Fear, but something like that. And Scorsese didn't know what to expect because he came right after the Titanic, but he was just like shocked by how good DiCaprio was, because that was one of his first serious roles after the rom-coms, well, more like cheesy films like he did back, like Juliet and Romeo and stuff like that were a bit like meh.
What would you say? So I know you're saying maybe what you said, Departed, I think, right?
I was looking at Mean Streets and what's it called? The one where De Niro is like beating up his wife in Raging Bull. Yeah,
Jake LaMotta.
That had a massive effect on me when I was a teenager. Yeah. But Scorsese would be probably Mean Streets or Wolf of Wall Street, I think.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, it's just the energy of it, the outrageousness of it, the drug scene in the Lamborghini,
getting out of the car.
That's amazing. The Quaaludes, yeah.
What do you like about DiCaprio in that film?
I suppose it's a bit like, what's the film where he's a con artist?
Catch Me If You Can.
He's got that kind of like, he's doing this outrageous stuff, but he has methods of making people come on board with him. He's so persuasive.
Yeah.
And I think that's really comes across in that performance really well.
He's slippery.
Yeah, he's a slippery eel.
Yeah.
And you kind of know you should hate him, but somehow you're rooting for him. Even though he's conning people left, right, and centre.
Similar films, I guess. I mean, not similar films, but like with Catch Me If You Can, like that idea. I mean, he kind of is playing a con man in The Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
You know? That's what he's doing, like from the start, lying to people about these, stuff.
And actually, he's doing stuff that's going to ruin people's lives, but somehow you're like, go! I hope he makes it. I hope he makes a fortune. You're always like rooting for him, I think.
I guess that, I don't know if that has something to say about like what Scorsese was trying to do versus what DiCaprio was trying to do. But I don't think Scorsese was trying to romanticize like what DiCaprio's character was trying to do. But it's interesting that he came across very likable in a hate-worthy way. I think you hate to love him, but you do.
Yeah, because maybe it's like in our time, it's like, fuck the banks.
Right.
This guy got one over them. You know, he did
That's
it.
True.
You know, it was one person against the system, and he did it, and he upended it. And that was quite exciting. It's quite subversive.
Well, it's I think it helps that he kind of gets his comeuppance at the end of it as well.
Yeah, I was happy about that.
Yeah, like the thing is, if The Wolf of Wall Street ends with him riding off into the sunset on his massive fucking yacht with millions of dollars and loads of people really sad and depressed and bankrupt, it's not as he's not as endearing. You know. Is that the one where he does his whole "sell me this pencil"?
Yes.
That's
the final scene actually as well. Yeah,
and he gives it to the actual Jordan Belfort, isn't it? That's the guy in the crowd is the real Wolf of Wall Street. But Wolf of Wall Street's such a weird one for me because I'm still like, it is an incredible performance and it is a truly mad film. I find it's such a hard watch. I don't know what it is about it.
I find it very difficult as well.
It's a very long watch. And it's because it is about 3 hours long as well, and it's I don't know. I remember watching it the first time coming out of the cinema, like I feel dirty. Like I feel like I need to. I feel like I should go home and shower because I genuinely feel like I just feel like it's like this debauchery and like kind of
because of that scene where Jonah Hill is wanking.
Oof.
On camera. I remember seeing that and being so shocked. I'd never seen that in like a mainstream film before. I was like, what?
Yeah. Isn't there the story from that film that John Barenthal, he punches Jonah Hill and the take they use in the film is where he actually punched him in the face because it was like, just go for it. And so he properly clocks him. Say what you will, maybe if you don't necessarily like the films or not, but they're kind of a match made in heaven, both Scorsese. And it's interesting that like Scorsese had De Niro. Now he has DiCaprio. Now he has them both in the same film. He's kind of, who's next? Who is Scorsese's next leading man? Because he went from De Niro to DiCaprio. Who will he go to next? Like, what's that next generation of? Yeah. Paul Mescal, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe he'll just retire and chill out.
I was going to say, he'll probably have both for,
I would say he probably wants to take a break at this stage, considering how much he's been working. But
I just find it very moving that you get to have another movie with three incredible talent.
You mean because the relationship obviously works and they've come back to it?
Yeah, because we grew up with them three in a way, and to see like one more film with all of them three is quite moving. And you're thinking you're probably not gonna. Let's be realistic. You're probably not gonna get another film with them three. So, odds don't help. So yeah, it's just cherish it, I guess. Okay. Cool. Thank you so much for your answers, as always. So we'll be back in 2 weeks with a final scene deep dive on Reservoir Dogs, because we haven't done a Tarantino episode and it's about time. And it's our twist on a Halloween episode, because there's no way you're going to go into Halloween party. You're not going to see like a bunch of creepy men dressed up as the Reservoir Dogs guys. So.
I mean, this year, if they're not dressed up as Ken in his fur suit, in his like big fur coat and his blonde hair, they'll probably be Reservoir Dogs.
Exactly. Awesome. Any parting words?
It's good to be back.
Yes, very good to be back. Great to see you guys. Okay, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Did you like it? Did you like that?
Did I like it? I loved it.
I had no idea you could milk a cat.
I have nipples, Greg. Could you milk me?
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.